freezing rain that's going to turn to ice. And I have about a 1.5 hour drive back home. And I don't want to be driving through that, especially if it gets dark. So that's like the worst driving condition you could ever imagine. Here's some outcroppings of rock. This kind of establishes where we are. Maybe if Dee Dee's watching this, she'll recognize this big overturned tree stump and this outcropping of rock. You know, I'm really bad this way. I always like to press on. I think I'm a frustrated explorer, and sometimes my curiosity compromises my judgment. So I'm going to listen to that inner voice and stop in a moment. I thought I would stop here, but I noticed there's a drop in the land over there, and then the land starts to rise again. So maybe that's a tip-off, because I've been going slightly downhill for a while, which is why I'm not so out of breath. Whoops. I just stepped in a pretty deep water there. Almost came to the top of my boot. Man, that would have sucked, having to walk all the way back with a wet boot. I mean, I'd survive it. It would just be uncomfortable. I'm going to go down to where it's the lowest point in the land before it starts rising again. Because if there's a lake up here, that's where I'd expect it to be. So obviously water's always going to seek the lowest point, right? And if I don't find it, then that's telling me that the small lake has to be off to the side, either to the east or the west, because I would have expected to hit it by now. Now you can see here where the road becomes very lumpy that I'm trying to stay on the part that seems the most solid. But we're definitely in the low point because all this water is collecting here. So I'm going to stop once I get to the other side of this lumpy area, and then I'll say something to the camera, and then I'll turn it off. I might walk just a little further with the camera off, and if I find that lake, I'll turn the camera on again and show you. But I'm now starting to think that it's off to the left or the right. The satellite picture we have for the property doesn't go this far up, and I'm going to try and order another one that shows an aerial view of this particular area, because that would be helpful to us. Okay. So now I'm going to flip my viewfinder around, and so I can see myself here. I probably should have done this at the beginning. Fix my funky nose ring. I didn't throw my gloves on the snow. So I can hold this out. Here you have my umbrella. See that? Never carried an umbrella in the woods during the winter before, but I'm just trying to keep any snowflakes or raindrops off the camera lens. So that was the tour of the property. I'm not exactly sure how long this video is. It's longer than I thought it would be. I was originally going to shoot it in segments, but I thought it'd be kind of funky to, once I started, just keep the camera rolling, you know, so you could get a sense of the property. So what did we discover today? We looked at the buildings at the front of the property on Highway 522, right? Here, I'll try and look at the camera, not at my viewfinder. We walked through the clear area, which has already been marked with some approximate lots with little posts. We walked through some pine forest which was fairly dense at some points, and those are still areas where you could build. We came to a clearing that I said would be a good place to build homes, but also maybe a community center or some dining hall sort of a thing, or a fitness center. That would be a nice flat area of land to build that, I think. Then we crossed the little bridge. I showed you the creek. We'll call that the creek. And then I walked further into the back of the property, which is also the north of the property. And we saw suddenly the pine trees gave way to maple trees and a maple forest. And now I think I've walked well past the end of the property. And as I've pointed out, we're in this area with we're still in maple tree area. So I'll leave it at that. I'm just going to walk a few more minutes up ahead in case. I'd hate to come all this way and turn away just 100 meters before the pond. So I'll go look for that, and if I find it, I'll turn on the camera again. And if I don't find it, I'll add Dee Dee's video of that from the fall or late summer, and show it to you, and then she can tell me how the heck I missed it, because I don't know where it is. So that's it, folks. Thank you for your kind attention, and I have more photos and videos to share, but I thought I'd take advantage of this break in the weather and a relatively warm winter day to do a walkthrough of the whole property. So now you have a much better sense of what it is. And while I would have liked to do it in the summer, it's kind of important to see it at the winter, because when we design, you got to remember a lot of the calendar year in Canada, it looks like this. So we're not going to be doing any open bamboo structures or anything, at least not that would serve us in this climate. We've got to think differently up here. All right. Anyway, don't mind while I fiddle with the camera and stop the recording.